Welcome back to America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys formula and America's Medicare Associates. Connor Tumblin and Scott Kerschner. 419-794-3030 is the phone number. The website, arhq.com. Nationwide is canceling around 100,000 pet insurance policies due to the higher cost of veterinary care. And while these pet owners are now finding themselves, well, without coverage. While you may not have to worry about pet insurance, you might find yourself in a similar situation when you're in your 60s when a term life insurance policy expires after the 20 or 30 years that policy, that term is usually written for. So it begs the question, how much life insurance does someone actually need in retirement?
Well, so 30 years ago when I started my career, I started selling home and auto, and then I jumped into life and health right away afterwards. And it hasn't been that long ago, really. Probably within the last 5 to 8 years, where they started selling pet insurance, and you could get an endorsement added onto your homeowner's policy, right? And being a pet owner, I'm like, who in the world would buy pet insurance? The crazy thing is, there are millions of people that would buy pet insurance, and the reason why is, if you ever wanted to start a business, get into something with pet care, whether it's little trinkets or toys or whatever, because people take care of their pets. Life insurance. So here's the thing. That's a tough question to answer, Chris, because it really depends on each individual needs. But this is a subject that I sold a lot of life insurance in a previous life, and I still do. I'm a firm believer in certain types of policies are good for certain situations. If you watch some of the other people, I think Dave Ramsey, he is absolutely hates life insurance. He talks about it all the time. I don't necessarily agree with that because of different reasons, right? Everybody has a situation where their needs are different than others. So let's talk a little bit about how much life insurance you think you might need in retirement. Well, if you've got a large portfolio, one way to pay for taxes upon settlement of that portfolio upon your death is you fund it with life insurance. The life insurance proceeds are passed on to the beneficiaries, and typically those are passed on um, tax free. So you don't pay any taxes on those proceeds from the life insurance that's passed on. One of the things that I did a lot of when I would meet with a young couple, not like yourself, Connor, at your age, at some point you may get married. At some point you're going to start a family. You're going to need to move from where you're at into a house. And one of the things I did a lot of was I would write a term policy at a very large dollar amount to protect the untimely loss of your income or your spouse, whoever is the major breadwinner in the family. And I would write, just like this says here, 20 or 30 years. I would write a lot of the 20 or 30 year premiums on term because it was really cheap. I mean, you could buy a lot of life insurance. I quoted a couple, they have two young kids, and we wrote them a combination of two different policies. One of them was a term policy for $1 million to supplement a loss of income. Okay. If he passes away, he's a major breadwinner. The bills don't go away. The bills are still there. The mortgage, the insurance premiums, the utilities, all of those stay intact. In fact, it's now being paid with one income, and it's not the major breadwinner's income. So, it's very, very difficult. You do a needs analysis. We kind of put together what each individual situation calls for. One of the things that we do here, which is phenomenal. You remember we were talking in a previous segment about things making sense. Um, Nolan and his team, you guys are writing a lot of life insurance with long-term care writers or an annuity with a long-term care writer. And the annuity is not subject to medical underwriting. So if you got someone that's not necessarily the healthiest and may not get underwritten, you could write an annuity. So these are things with life insurance that really help out paying the long-term care. Definitely need long-term care. A lot of people won't buy it. It's a very, very difficult sale because people don't see the reason why they need it. Oh, my kids are going to take care of me if I'm in that situation. So, and we know how that can play out. So it really depends. The important thing with life insurance moving through retirement is to offset some tax, to pay some bills like debt that you may have, to offset the loss of earned income if something were to happen. The other thing is employer-sponsored life insurance. So there's a couple of things. I had a client in last week actually that had some life insurance needs, and she says, "Well, I've got insurance through my employer." I said, "Well, unless that's a voluntary life policy, you'll most likely lose that when you retire." And she looked at me like, "What?" I said, "Well, you need to check and see if it's a voluntary policy." And what a voluntary policy typically means is you purchase a policy, it's payroll deducted, money is taken out of your paycheck to cover the premium for the life insurance. And if you retire or terminate employment, typically what happens with a voluntary plan is that goes with you and you pay that premium. But if you've got an employer-sponsored life insurance policy, that policy, upon termination of employment, ceases to exist. So, the important thing is talk to us if you need life insurance. If you think you're in a situation where you need life insurance, we can help you out with that. Don't wait until you're 60 to buy a life insurance policy, because obviously the older we get, the closer we are to meeting our maker, right? And you don't want to be filling an application out with one foot on the banana peel and the other one next to the casket, right? That's not the right time to buy a life insurance policy. So really, it's hard to determine what's the best amount of insurance you need. If you have a lot of debt, if you're concerned about tax ramifications, estate taxes upon your untimely demise, then talk to us. We can get some life insurance quotes put together for you. We have several companies and several different options that may work out. We can add a lot of riders on to give you coverage for paying for the premiums, coverage for children, and long-term care coverage as well.
Lots of different options out there, and it goes beyond just being that quote unquote death benefit, but being able to actually take advantage of the living benefit, being able to figure out how it's going to work for you, if it is necessary at all, is as simple as reaching out to the team and figure out how it all comes together as part of your overall retirement strategy. 419-794-3030 is how you get started. You can go to the website arhq.com. A lot of great events coming up by the team. You can click on the events tab there and find out more about those as well, including how to reserve your space. That is arhq.com.